What's up, YouTube? So we're back. It's Thursday, and we're still working on the 63. The clear coat has had now a couple of days to dry. So the next steps for us is we're going to wet sand the entire car to try to remove all the little imperfections that we ran into. The little what looks like little bubbles or whatnot in the clear. So the idea is we're going to sand all of that out with some fine 800 grit sandpaper and water. I just have a mop bucket here with some clean water and a little spray bottle with some water to, help me highlight certain areas. And I'm going to start with the hood, and then I'm probably going to do the trunk, but my objective is to try and do the entire vehicle, because once I sand the car down, I'm gonna then re-clear the car. So, and the idea is that I'll hit it with another couple of coats, and that will have a nice glass-like finish. Then I can, after that second round of clear and that dries, then we'll wet sand again, but then we'll end it off with buffing the car. Yeah, with buffing compound and whatnot. So then we should get a real nice shine and hopefully have all our issues resolved. I'm also going to plan when I go to get that clear coat to pick up maybe a quart, maybe 2 quarts at the most of paint additional, so that I can do the dashboard and a couple areas. I did paint under the hood and under the trunk, but I don't know, I might hit it with another coat. So we'll see. But most of all, the door jambs and the dashboard, for the most part, is why I'm buying it. But yeah, like I said, it dried up nice, and overall it's good. Like the sides of the car came out real good. Just really the hood and the trunk. The roof is pretty much good. This side is the better side, because on the other side, I think I was showing you guys yesterday, I had a little problem. Where was it? Right here, right there. So we'll see if we're able to sand that out. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I had like a water droplet or something, and there's a spot where I bumped into it with, I believe, the air hose. But all in all, it was a fairly decent paint job. So at least, self-praise is no recommendation, but hey, if I don't say it's good, who else is going to? But yep, so next step, I gotta sand this bad boy, and it takes some time and kind of, monotonous, labor intensive work. So not looking forward to it, but hey, it's gotta be done. And this is just the first round, so I'll have to do it again after we hit it with that flow coat or that second coat of clear. I wish I would have been smart enough to buy it at the time, but that's okay. We'll go back and take care of that tomorrow. Okay, guys, so that's the small update. Stay tuned. I'm gonna get to sanding, and I'll bring you guys back to show you the result. I don't know, I'm a little bit nervous on if some of this stuff is really just in the clear, but we'll see. You guys can see that right there, right? All those little dots. So let's see what happens when I sand it down. Stick with me. All right, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some of the wet sanding, and I figured I might as well try to set you guys up on the stand so we capture some of it. You won't get a close-up, but at least you'll see some kind of action happening. So, about to get started. 800 grit, sandpaper, and water, agua, H2O. Keeping it simple. So let me jump on that. Bucket of water, guys. Trusty spray bottle with more water. Only thing I'm really missing is a squeegee. Sometimes you want to it gets all white and kind of milky looking, so it's good to have a squeegee to wipe some of that crap out the way. I don't have one. Sometimes you can improvise and use like a Bondo spreader, but I've had mixed success with that. So I'm gonna just get what am I gonna use? Yeah, I'm gonna just use water. I'll use the spray bottle to kind of spray the crap out of the way. I need to get a good rag that I can use to wipe the area. But now I think about it, I had some good rags at the house and I forgot to grab one out the garage. So I got them tucked away in the 64. So I use those good rags when I'm cleaning it off. It is what it is. We'll improvise for today. Well, as I say today, we're trying to get the majority of this done today. So on the second round of wet sanding after the next flow coat, or after the flow coat, then we'll have everything we need. I'll try to get a squeegee too. But I guess the moral of the story in that is it's always more than one way to do things. If you don't have all the right material, you can still get work done. Yeah. So what I like to do when I'm wet sanding, I just take the whole sheet of sandpaper. This is the 800 grit. Actually, we got some Dura Gold. That's the stuff we're using. I have even some finer grits, but we don't want to go too fine because we want that flow coat or that second coat of clear to have good adhesion or to stick, right? We all may have seen cars in the past where you see the clear coat just kind of flaking off. Sometimes it can be bad clear coat, but most of the time it's from bad preparation. They probably sanded it with 1500 or 2000 grit and then the clear just can't stick. So 500 to 800 is what you want to use, but 800 is what I have, so that's what I'm gonna use. So I'm gonna drop a piece in here and let it soak a little bit. And I'm gonna spray some water. I'm gonna start in this front left corner because actually this is where I have some of the bad spots or some of the worst spots. So we'll see what happens. If I'm able to overcome these terrible spots, then that'll be a good sign. But worst case, I'm not gonna trip off of it. If I have to respray that hood, like for example, if some of that is in the base, I mean, we'll just blow through all the clear if we have to and get down to the base and try to sand it out that way. And if we epically fail doing that, then hey, we'll just paint it again. So one way or another, we're gonna get it right because around here, we don't quit, we don't give up. And it's my car, so I want it to be as right as possible, right? And for sure, if it was a customer's car or your car, I'd give it that same love and attention. That's just how I am. Everybody's not like that though, right? For some people, it's like, man, you gotta pay me for that. You just wanted a basic job, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I won't get into that. Let me get started. First you got find where I put the sanding block. That's the only thing. I'm using a block. You don't want to really use your bare hands because you can start to make grooves with your fingers. I have a good block somewhere. I just got to grab it. All right, so I'm just going with this soft kind of, it's a soft block, but it's not like very, very soft. With wet sanding, you want something a little more spongy, you know, you don't want to be too rigid because clear coat is thin. And when you're wet sanding, you don't want to stay in one spot for too long because in most cases, you're not trying to burn through all the way to the base, right? So then you're just gonna have an issue or pile on more clear. Well, we plan, even though we plan on clearing, I really don't intend to go down to the base unless we run into these issues. So generally speaking, don't do that. Man, I need to bring some scissors up there so I can kind of like cut this paper. Cut the tear. soaking. Shit. Dropped it. I don't want to get no dirt in my bucket. There we go. Alright, here we go. Okay, so now that we got a good little rub on that spot, I'm gonna go get some. I know I don't have any real good clean, like nice white rags up here, so I'm gonna go and get some of these blue shop towels that I have and just work with that. It's not really ideal because those will leave behind like lint and stuff like that, and I don't want to really leave any dust or stuff like that behind since I'm going to re-clear it. But that's where I'm gonna have to rely on the tack rags. You guys might remember I showed you I got these sticky cloths called tack rags. We'll use that to go over everything to pick up any loose particles and lint and dust before we spray. So I still got 5 more of them, so I only really need 1. So that's what I'm gonna use to counteract the fact that I'm using the shop towel. You know, you wanna have, I think they call them like these wipe all body work specific towels because they're lint free and blah blah blah, but it's not in the budget right now, you know. So I'm gonna work with what I got and make it happen. So let's take a quick look and see once we wipe it if we made some progress or if we need to go further. Give me a second. These are the shop towels I'm talking about. Let's leave that there. Tore off a piece. Let's see. And it's kind of like, it's hard for you guys to see, but I'll try and show you. Really kind of need to let it dry, but hopefully you can see a bit there. You can still see evidence of them. I still got more sanding to do, but already it's done decent. Like there's just one spot here I'm not so sure about. I gotta really sand in that area, but it's a good indication that the areas that aren't so bad on the rest of the car are gonna end up turning out real good. I'm gonna keep working this area, and I mean, worst case, we're gonna have to, I don't know, sand it some more and see what happens. In worst case, it might need to get repainted like we already said, or maybe not the whole panel. Let's keep working before I get ahead of myself and see how things turn out. So I'm gonna try and shut up. I got a bad habit now of talking. I'm gonna try and be quiet and just get some work done, and I'll come back to you guys when I do a significant area. Yeah, guys, so what I think I'm gonna do is just try to get the whole hood done. Then I'm wipe it, let it dry. We'll stop at some point on the camera. And then I'll come back and show you guys what it looks like after the fact. I didn't really do a good once over what it looks like now, but you guys should be able to refer back to the previous video to see, you know. So this is gonna improve it a lot. I don't know if it's gonna be the be all end all to completely get it where I want it, but we're gonna give it our best shot. So that's the plan. The other thing I forgot to mention too, be careful if you're doing this on your own car around the edges. They tend to have a thinner coat of paint and it doesn't take much to burn through and get into the base coat, and that can be bad. So right now you see the pad is still all black or white chalky. You start to see red on here and you know, oh, I hit the base coat, which is not desirable. So word of caution, word of advice. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna stop right here because it's kind of tedious, monotonous work. I still got quite a few minutes left to do this, and I don't want to just sit here doing this for you guys. It's kind of boring. So I'll splice in and we'll jump back at another point. So stay tuned, everybody. All right, guys, so after a couple rounds of sanding, this is where we're at. It's still drying. I mean, it knocked it down. I got a lot out, but there's still a long way to go, as you can see. So I'm gonna keep sanding, and hopefully we're able to get it out. But like I said, worst case, I'll respray the hood and respray the trunk. But we're not gonna give up yet. I'm gonna keep sanding. There's this takes a while. I wish I would have had some 400 or 500 grit to make it a little bit quicker, but you want to take your time with this stuff anyway, because like I said, I don't really want to cut into the color. But the more I consider what I'm doing, man, it's gonna take some time. I mean, for the most part, I really only need to focus a lot on the hood and the trunk, but it's a big car, so I gotta still wet sand all these panels, you know. I've done the top of the fenders, but I gotta do the side of the fenders and the front of them. Gotta do both doors, both quarter panels, and like I said, the trunk needs some attention. I mean, the more I look at it, it's not that, it's got one or two spots that's worse than others, but overall, I guess it won't be bad. The hood is just in, what do you call it? It's in the worst shape in terms of all the little, I don't even know what to call it, but just say defects in the clear. Hopefully it's all in the clear. There's a couple of them that look like it goes all the way to the base, so I don't know. We'll see what I do about that. I really need a small touch-up gun because it'd be good just to blow a little bit of base on it and take care of it that way, but we'll see. I'm gonna keep going, and hopefully we can get it all corrected with the sanding. So let me stop at this point, get my hands back in the bucket, and some more back breaking wet sanding. Stay tuned, my friends. We're gonna keep pushing till we get it done the right way. Peace. All right, guys, so we're back. Sanded down well, I'm still in the process of sanding the hood. It's going slower than I anticipated. Would have been better if I had some 500 grit, then I could have jumped to the 800 grit, but I don't know. Slow and steady is good too, because we don't want to burn through in spots. But as you can see, that's how it starts to look when you wet sand it. Kind of gives it that matte finish, but yeah, so we're going okay. I mean, I'm getting a lot of stuff out, but there's still a lot of little spots and stuff here and there I'm trying to contend with. I'm gonna keep sanding, but it's a fine line, you know. You don't want to sand too much and then cut into the base coat. So I'm gonna keep going a little bit. I'm on the top of the fenders too, doing some work. But all in all, the other panels I'm hoping will go much quicker. As like I previously said, they got much less issue. So it's really just the hood and the trunk. And to be honest, I think the hood is the worst. So yeah, so I guess I started with the worst panel first, and I'm just slowly grinding with it. You know, some stuff is coming on. Let me give you guys an example. Like you see, like these little spots here, that was where some water dribbled. It's coming out. I mean, if you rub your hand over, you can feel them as high spots, but it takes a while, sanding. And some of that is also on the fender. You can't really see it now because it's got all this swirl from the clear that I already sanded off, but just trust me on that. So we're working at it. If all goes well with this, then we won't have to repaint this panel, and we can just expect to re-clear it, cut and buff it, and see what it's looking like. Should have a beautiful shine and luster, and hopefully minimal little BS dots, you know. fish eyes or whatever the hell they call it. You know, like I told you guys before, I'm no professional. You know, I'm doing what I can when I can, and it's coming together. So, man, I don't know. I was being very optimistic and hoping that somehow I'd be able to wet sand the whole damn car, but realistically, in the time frame I have allotted today, it's just not gonna happen. So I've changed my focus. I want to just get this hood to the best possible level that I can get it to. So I'm gonna just keep grinding on this for today, and the top of the fenders since I already started on them. Then, all things considered, I should be able then hopefully have a little bit more time tomorrow, with tomorrow being Friday. So I should then be able to get a little more accomplished. When you look at the hood, you know, the same time that I covered the hood, I'll be able to knock the fenders and doors out, because the fenders and doors need much less. So I probably got to sand on them for a shorter duration of time to achieve the same results. So if all goes well, like I said, tomorrow I'll be able to get the fenders, the doors, the rear quarters, and hopefully the trunk. I'm gonna leave the trunk till the end because it's man, it was in rough shape, similar to the hood. Not as bad though. And God, man, I'm looking at the roof and dreading that too. But overall, the roof, I mean, it doesn't have as many of those little, you know, issues as the hood and the trunk. So hopefully that just needs some light sanding too. But what I'm getting at is, it's no way, well, there's a very, very slim chance of me being able to re-clear this thing tomorrow. That's my ideal scenario with the weather and all of that, and the amount of drying time that I need with the clear. So I'm gonna give it my best shot, and hopefully maybe I'll just put in a couple extra hours tomorrow and get it done. But we'll see. But I just wanted to give you guys some sort of update so you're not left hanging and that you know the next steps. And I want to shout out to one guy in the comments too, because he also mentioned the same thing that I'm actually doing here. He said, hey man, you should, what do you say, you should cut and buff it and re-clear it. So, I mean, he was right. You know, I was planning to do that anyway, but just shout out to him. He had one of those usernames where it's not, I can't call you by name, but you know who you are. Hopefully you're still watching. I appreciate your feedback. I like those kind of comments from real car people, you know, who understand what's going on here. And that's how we can help one another. So each one teach one. I'm not a professional, but maybe you're out there and you're a professional and you got some tips and tricks and pointers on how to do great body work. By all means, share your knowledge. I'm here for all of that. And I believe that we never stop learning. So yeah, as long as you got some health, strength, and motivation, the sky's the limit. So keep pushing, guys. Just wanted to give you this update. This is more than likely gonna be it for this particular video, but we'll see. I might do some more. It's cutting down pretty good, you know, so stick with me and hold tight. I'm your host, Shawnee C. from Motor City Customs, and that is a wrap.